So recently I saw Smile 2, the sequel to the first Smile from a few years ago that came out of nowhere and absolutely blew people away. You can probably guess that a sequel to a movie like that would maybe cause some hesitation with people. It did for me anyway. I mean, how rare is it that a sequel ever lives up to the original? Especially in this case when the original is as great as that first movie was. Nevertheless, I'm happy to say that Smile 2 really subverted my expectation. I mean, that first film was the dark, somber exploration of grief and loss and what happens to a person who doesn't properly deal with those emotions. Smile 2 ended up being this insanely funny comedy, at least according to the audience I saw it. I mean, people in my theater were literally getting out of their seats constantly because of how funny the movie was. Don't let the trailers fool you, folks. Smile 2 is the comedy event of the year. It's so funny that people couldn't help but laugh, even when things weren't all that funny and nothing funny was ever actually happening, which confused me, but I was lucky because of the running commentary so graciously given by the person sitting directly next to me. I mean, it's like they made the movie or something with all the knowledge they had. She and her friend were detailing everything happening on screen that I could also see with my own eyes in the movie I was also watching. That way, I couldn't get lost or confused because, again, this was a comedy after all, despite the horror in this horror movie. I mean, I thought this one scene I was watching was a tense, suspenseful moment heightened only by the very horrific imagery on screen, but that was just because I didn't get the deeply layered comedic subtext. Silly me. Luckily, an audience member behind me laughed so incredibly loudly and talked incessantly about how silly this tense scene in this very horror movie actually was. So I got it. Even when it did get scary, I was able to know it was scary thanks to another audience member who screamed as loud as humanly possible, almost inappropriately so, in a high-pitched shriek. His friends, who he snuck in with, certainly got a kick out of that. It's a true testament of just how good a movie is that even when it's actively still playing, there's this sense of community that's fostered amongst its audience members that allows for the free discussion of a film before it's even done. I mean, it's truly an astounding... So, as you can probably guess, this video won't actually be a review of Smile 2, mainly because you don't need another person on the internet telling you to go see this movie, but for shits and giggles, go see this movie. Everything you love about the first film is in here, and it's dialed up all the way to 11, while still maintaining all the depth of the original film. What I want this video to be is more of an open conversation and vent session about how people nowadays act in movie theaters. I know, it's pretty passé to say that people don't know how to act in movie theaters anymore, but between you, me, and the screen, people don't know how to act in movie theaters anymore. Why exactly that is, I honestly couldn't say for sure. Some people cite COVID as a reason for this, regression of decorum. People were trapped in their homes and could freely scroll on their phones or talk with their friends and partners while they watched a movie. And then when theaters opened back up, I guess they forgot that you actually shouldn't be doing. In the past, I used to be one of those people who would actively tell people, hey, can you maybe not have a full phone conversation as this movie is playing? Or, hey, can you maybe shut the fuck up because your movie commentary is not as funny as you think it is? And if I wanted to pay for it, I'd probably subscribe to your Patreon, but I won't because it's not actually all that funny. But as of late, I've been hesitant to do that. I'm not really sure why. I think it kind of has to do with the fact that I don't want to come across like I'm a Karen or something, but the truth of it is it's really because I'm a scared little boy who doesn't want to tell someone to shut up and then immediately get my shit rocked by a 7.3 Giga Chad. It can happen. You never know. But I don't think fear of that maybe happening should stop anyone from letting others just act like children in the theater. Speaking of children, my god, who's letting these kids in movies they definitely should not be in? They're just unleashing swarms of teenagers into rated R movies, and it's like, who's stopping this? If I'm someone working at the counter and I see a group of kids centered around the ticket booth going okay, whispering, clearly plotting, I'm gonna be like, what is this? What do you... Ugh, that's beside the point. Look, I'm not gonna lie. I snuck into my fair share of movies as a kid. I was young once. I still am.
Hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy. You get your goddamn...
I still am. But I think there's something in the water or the overpriced sodas at the movies that make these kids act way, way different. Again, we've all snuck into movies before, but I'm pretty sure we didn't make it so blatantly obvious that that is what we were doing. When I went to go see Smile 2, as the movie was playing, there was a group of teenage boys, because of course they were teenage boys, who snuck into the movie and stood in that entrance area just when you enter the theater and were like giggling and laughing and screaming very loudly. Then a few of them like poked their heads out from where they were and scanned the theater, very clearly looking for an empty seat to fill in. And when they found some, they went to sit. And even as they were sitting, they made so much goddamn fucking noise. It was crazy. They were the people I mentioned shrieking in the beginning there. No doubt in an attempt to be funny, which I hate honestly more than anything. Like, if you're gonna do that shit, at least be funny about it. Far too often these white boys, and yes, they are also white boys, almost often the joke is just, I'm gonna scream loud as I possibly can. And that's it. That's the joke. I didn't say anything because I was really worried about looking like a dick and telling a bunch of teenagers to shut the fuck up, so I didn't say anything. I just kind of sat and stewed in my anger, which kind of is the problem here, but also maybe the solution. If Speak No Evil taught me anything, it's that, well, James McAvoy is kind of a whole snack, if we're being honest. I mean, you've seen this dude in this movie? Like, dude, what is even... it's actually that letting people get away with awful behavior in the name of being pleasant does nothing for absolutely no one. In the case of something like this, the people acting out, they don't learn that what they're doing is wrong and annoying and stupid and dumb and ridiculous if no one calls them out on their bullshit. So they just keep doing it. The only solution is to not be afraid and actually call them out on it. It doesn't matter if it's a teenager or a grown adult, call people out, especially if it's annoying and stupid and dumb, and even the smallest child would know not to act out in a public space. But even that doesn't help because some parents just let their children run wild. I'm rambling. The point is, don't let people ruin your time in the theaters, especially since movie theater tickets are incredibly expensive. I went to go see a movie the other day. It was like $20 for a ticket. For me and my partner, it was like $40. Are you fucking kidding me? Don't let people's nonsense ruin your time there. I found in the past, and something I'm going to start doing now, a very stern and intense, hey, shut the fuck up, will more than likely do wonders. Alright, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Get that on my chest. Go see Smile 2. I know it's been a while since the movie came out, but it's still really good. Also, seriously, if you're a movie theater attendant and you see a swarm of children just gathered around, expect the worst. Assume the worst and get them out of there. Like, kick them, sweep them out with a broom and just make sure they don't fucking ruin everything.